Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the CJRB Frack. How come you have two of them? Well, because one of them is a budget variation, and one of them is a premium variation. We have one here in steel and AR RPM 9, and then the other one is titanium and S90V. Both of them are available for a great price. Obviously, the S90V one is much more expensive, but considering, titanium and S90V, I think the price tag is great. I'll make sure that they're linked down in the description. There's actually a couple of other variations, including smooth steel, black, right? I'll link all the different variations down in the description. You guys can check it out if you want. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks so much to CJRB for providing these for review. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. These, like many other knives, will probably eventually get given away on a live stream. So if you needed an additional reason to subscribe and you didn't know that I did that, I do. I give away a lot of knives on live streams. Subscribe. Okay, let's go ahead and get some measurements. I'm going to keep the titanium one off camera here for just a second since they're identical, other than a few things. But measurements are going to be identical. So the overall length of the Frack, this is actually a pretty big knife. 8.85 inches. You could call that it's basically a 3.9 inch blade, but the cutting edge is only about 3.35 inches because of this very large forward choil. But we have a lot of knife here for sure. How about some size comparisons? Any custom scales you see in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and others. So up against the AD10 and the AD20.5. You can see here, this guy's actually longer than the AD10. Obviously not as thick, not as tall, right? But it's big. How about up against the Spyderco? Where is it? PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3. Quite a bit larger than the PM2. I think the cutting edge is similar, a little longer. It does have, I guess, a Spyderco-esque large forward choil. And then finally, let's put it up against the Benchmade Group Tilliner, in this case, the Ritter Hogue and the Hogue Deca. Yeah, it's big. Okay. How's the action? This is a button lock knife. I did test this one and the titanium one in the unboxing. You guys can go back and watch that if you want to. They both survived it just fine. CJRB generally knows how to do a button lock, so I don't really have an issue with that. But the action is good. The button has a little more travel than I prefer. It's just like a microscopic amount. That is such a stupid, nitpicky thing. But I'm just going to tell you, it has a little more travel, but it's not a crunch. It doesn't feel like a cylinder grinding against some imperfectly machined, steel part or whatever. It just travels a little further. It's not quite, like what I experienced with the Cormorant, it feels like the longest press of a button ever. But it's a little bit more. It's still not a big deal though. I mean, honestly, the action is very good, and they cleared the appropriate amount of space for good access to this opening hole. One of my biggest pet peeves is when a company creates a system like this where you're obviously meant to use the hole as the primary means of deployment, and then they cover it with the frame. Don't do that. Leave it open like this. That's obviously. Yeah, so this really works very well, honestly. The detent is the plunge lock. That's what's creating the detent in the closed position. I'll let you see. Boop, right there, that little part that pokes out. So that works. Thumb flicking, it's easy. Reverse flicking it is easy, and just wheeling it out, obviously that works. So honestly, the deployment is very, very good. Let's go ahead and do carry profile. So thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It's really not all that thick. It's about the same. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. This guy folded up is about the same as the PM2. It's really, really close. It's not quite as tall. It's just very similar to the PM2, right? It's just the difference is that the PM2 is going to be a little bit lighter because your lightest option between these two is the titanium fella. I'm going to showcase that here. Actually, we'll do that next. So what are the materials? Well, on this guy, you have a noticeably different finish. This is their sand wash, which is very beautiful, much more reflective. And we have, that's S90V, which honestly is probably one of my favorite stainless steel compositions ever. That is a really, really good stainless steel composition and has incredible edge retention. And it's, as far as like the classification of steel that it is, like, I mean, it's similar toughness to M390, so it's not super duper tough, right? But in this, in a knife like this is kind of like you want the stainlessness, you want the incredible edge retention, and at least the ability to sharpen it. If you have diamond stones, you'll be able to do that, right? But this is the type of steel that you want to see on a premium knife, in my opinion, if you're looking for stainless steels. If you're not looking for stainless steels, then obviously not. But S90V, really, really good steel. And then on the other one, we have AR RPM9, which is Artisan Cutlery's proprietary powder form steel that they use on budget knives, which is cool. It's one of the only powder form steels that we ever see consistently in this territory. It's essentially a powdered 9CR 18 MOV, which is a nice balance of composition for sure. Good toughness, ease of sharpening, decent edge retention, right? It's not going to be the same as S90V, but it's very, very good. And then the handles are steel, and you're going to notice this is a big difference in weight. Obviously, titanium weighs a lot less. So let's go ahead and weigh these two. So on the inside of each of them, you can see there's a little bit of skeletonization. Same thing with the titanium fella here. Yep. So the weight on the steel guy, this is the less expensive one, and it's substantially less expensive. That weighs 5 ounces. The titanium guy, I'm going to say this weighs right about 4, maybe just under. Oh, 3 points. That's an ounce and a quarter difference between these two. And they are dimensionally exactly the same. It's just steel weighs that much more. So there is a noticeable difference in weight. That's in the zone where not only is it a noticeable difference, but that's going to actually help make a decision for some people. I will notice a difference between a 3.75 ounce knife and a 5 ounce knife in the pocket, right? So you might, obviously you want to take that into consideration. Then we also have to balance out the fact that one costs substantially more than the other. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools. As usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. Both of them have T8 pivots, and are they T8 body? They are. T8 body screws. Thank you. Thank you, CJRB. Making steps in the right direction. That's great. Very easy to take apart and put back together. For sure, we have 2 screws on each side, and we have a couple of T6 screws for the pocket clip. No big deal there. The pocket clip is reversible. Well, I mean, it can be set up for right or left-hand carry, right? The pocket clip on this guy is a milled clip, popsicle stick style, but it is symmetrical, right? Just have a more basic clip on the cheaper guy. And then we have a nested zone here for the clip. So that's really cool. Okay. Blade stock thickness. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Move this guy out and we'll just focus on the cheaper guy here. Blade stock thickness on the Frack is coming in at, that's a pretty thin blade stock. No, okay, it's not quite as thin as I thought. There's about 120,000. This is about what I expected. All right. Meat and potatoes time. This is certainly no reinvention of the wheel. I know people, I know you guys you say that all the time, but I mean, hey, listen, it's 2023 knife world, right? I mean, we see a lot of the same stuff. I like it when companies offer, there's a couple of different things here that it always makes me smile. Number one, when a company offers a larger knife that's well in budget territory. I feel like we don't see that enough. We have, I mean, if you like knives that are about 7.5 inches and you like knives that cost less than $60 or less than $50, well, let me tell you, you have the world's largest selection. I mean, holy crap. Everything is right there, right? 8-inch, I like an 8 to an 8.25, but I love it when we have larger options available for people who either prefer larger knives or maybe your hands are just that much bigger. Something that always makes me feel bad for people who truly have large hands. I wear an XL glove. That's pretty normal. People who have 2, 3XL or even 4XL hands, God, that's got to be frustrating because the whole world is made just like people who are 7 feet tall. The world's not made for people who are 7 feet tall. It's not made for left-handed people. It's not made for people who are gigantic, have gigantic hands. It's just not, right? So what I like is when we have budget knives, right? This makes it more available when they're less expensive and more accessible for people. But also when they're larger, right? You don't have to be a gigantic person to like larger knives, and you also don't need a large knife. You can just like it, right? Sometimes I like to carry knives that are much longer, much larger just because I want to, right? I mean, I'd get by just fine with a 1-inch utility box cutter, but that's boring. So sometimes you want to carry something larger, but I like it when we have larger knives available. I just don't see it. As somebody who handles as many knives as I do, I can tell you confidently that there is a noticeable lack of larger knives. Okay, anyways, I like that. I also like it when companies make a premium and non-premium version of the same knife so that people who want the materials that's really important to them, they can go ahead and buy it. And if they don't want that, well, you can get essentially the exact same thing for less money. That's cool. CJRB does that, and they do a great job of it. This is that. And it's not just that it's a larger knife. It's a larger knife that has these big open ergonomic areas. I really like that. A knife like this, they could have put a flipper tab on it and it would have worked just fine. But talk about roominess here. If your hands are about the same size as mine or smaller, you have the choked up position. You have the standard hammer grip position and even a third rocked back position for whatever it is you're doing. I mean, a lot of times the only thing you're going to be doing back here is chopping, which I wouldn't recommend with a pocket knife, but whatever. The point is you can move around on this knife and hold it however you want. I get really frustrated when I'm doing something simple and the only option for holding the knife is making whatever I'm doing slightly more difficult. Usually I'll get by, but I find that incredibly annoying. I found that one of my biggest preferences when it comes to pocket knives is the ability to move my hand around on the knife and be comfortable and, more importantly, safe while I complete the task. Because I don't want to sit there and screw around with the task. I want to get it done so I can go on to the next thing, right? I find that good ergonomics on your tool, or the ability to move around and just get in the right position before you do whatever it is you're going to do, is really, really important. This allows you to do that. Very comfortable. All these edges are very, very knocked down. This forward choil is about it's like textbook perfection. This is something I've been talking about since I started YouTube 5.5 years ago. If you're going to do a forward choil, go for it. Dedicate to it. Don't give me this one knuckle, kinda safe, kinda not, bull crap, freaking super tiny little. I hate that. Give me a forward choil or don't put it on there. Right? In this case, this is done so well. Part of the choil is actually part of the frame here. Comes out, right? It makes for just, obviously it works the same way as a sharpening choil. And then you can get your finger up here, right? Now, some people don't like this because designs where the blade just comes right to the guard, then you can, get that cut. If you're going to push straight down, you can go right up against where your index finger is. So you're going to put all the power in there and it's not getting hung up on anything. It's not falling off the edge. It's not getting hung up on a sharpening tool. Some people really like that. Some people don't need that. And so the ability to choke up and do your precision cuts or do your power cuts like straight down into thick cardboard or styrofoam or something like this, they do it like that. And then they just use their index finger to sort of guide the material there. Obviously you want to wear gloves if you're going to do that, but that's the benefit there. I found that I prefer that forward choil, even if I don't use it very much. So the point is, if you're going to do it like this. And CJRB obviously did it like that, and that's really nice. We have a frag pattern throughout. That's fine. Offers a little bit of grip. They feel about the same, honestly, between the two. The difference here is, of course, the finish on the titanium is a little bit less reflected. This is more of a blasted titanium, which is fine. And it is, like I said, noticeably lighter. Truthfully, outside of that, there is no difference in terms of quality of action or the travel of the button or anything like that. They feel the same. You get a little bit different sound. The impact of the blade on titanium, well, it's not really on titanium, it's on the stop pin, but you're getting some of that reverberation into the titanium frame. It sounds a little bit different. There's the steel. You get a little bit different sound there with the titanium. It's just a difference in materials, right? Outside of that, the only other indication that we're looking at a more premium knife here is the finish on the blade, which is really nice. I do like CJRB Well Artisan Cutlery sand polish, and then also the pocket clip. But beautifully ergonomic. The blade shape is great too. We have this, I don't know what you want to call this, right? But the nose of the blade drops down a little further than what we typically see with a standard drop point. So whatever you want to call it, right? Here's the shape of it. I like this. Draw cuts made a little bit easier than a standard drop point blade. And when I say that, I mean like something like the bug out where the tip is a little more up. This is a little more down, right? Depending on what you're doing, it'll be more or less convenient. But I like blade styles like this. Really, it's a design we've seen before in a slightly different shape. We've seen this design many, many times and within many other models, many other brands. Slightly different shape, a little bit longer. And you have the option of premium or not necessarily not premium, just like not as premium as S90V, right? If you don't mind the extra weight and you don't need S90V, or you're like me and you're not the most confident sharpener in the whole world, the AR RPM9 is going to be way easier to sharpen than the S90V because they are hitting this at the appropriate Rockwell hardness, right? So, but if you have diamond stones, right? I use a KME. It's a guided system, and something like this that's not a Tanto or not some weird compound thing, I can do it. It just takes it a little longer. AR RPM 9, substantially easier to sharpen. So there you go. It does have a lanyard hole for people who attach lanyards to their knives. A couple of standoffs here. Honestly, it's the exact same thing. There is no difference in the standoffs or anything like that. Pocket clip. Truthfully, I don't know that there's really going to be that much of a difference. I don't notice that much. We have this ramp at the end of the bill here, and it really feels almost exactly the same with the ramp under the titanium clip. Ergonomically, this is slightly less of a hot spot because it is contoured and rounded off. This has a little tiny bit of a bill at the end, so you might feel it a little bit, but truthfully, it's so minimal, and the clip is short enough. It's on the back 50% of the knife, which is where it should be. It's a good enough clip either way that it's whatever. It's honestly, it's just preference, right? Stop pin located in its traditional spot. No shouldering, doesn't need it. Absolutely no blade plate on this guy. No blade plate on this guy. No locks. Both the buttons feel exactly the same. No pivot lash. Extremely consistent. Let's do this one. That one. This one does have a little teeny tiny, not much, just a little tiny bit of stick. Again, no pivot lash. Exactly the same level of smoothness here. And exactly the same feeling detent. A little bit of a thud there with the plunge lock. We have perfect centering on this guy. Is it? Or is it slightly... This one actually is slightly off. Or, is it just lumped over to one side? Maybe. I'm trying to see if it was just sitting weird. I think maybe it was. That looks pretty darn center to me. And then this guy here is the same thing. Nope, really, no pivot lash, even with it being a plunge lock detent. That's fine. Okay, so the Frack, what's the price? For S90V in titanium, it's $200. If you're new to knives, you're like, holy crap! $200 for a pocket knife. If you research, and it won't take you long, this is something pretty much anybody can do in about 15 minutes. If you type in those materials and you look up, which companies are producing what or whatever, that is ridiculously competitive. If you're getting S90V in titanium, even if it's being made in China, that is insanely competitive. CJRB has done this for a bit now. I'm used to, years ago, even before the inflation, seeing S90V in titanium in the high 2s, low 300s, right? Even high 300s on production knives. So S90V has only recently become a steel that is just more obtainable at this price point. I think that that's pretty cool. So I don't have a problem with that. And then this guy here, the base price when it's not on sale is about $60. I found a few on sale, here or there for 50, but obviously you don't want to, if you're watching this 2 years in the future, that doesn't mean anything to you, right? So I'm going to say $60 base price. That's extremely fair. This is nice. If one price point you don't like or one of them has materials you don't like, then you can go with the other one, right? I think that's great. I have absolutely no problem with the price tag. For people specifically looking for a larger knife for one reason or another, this is an excellent option. Their button locks are great. Ease of manipulation is good. Blade geometry is good. We didn't really talk about this that much, but the blade does get down to a pretty thin edge down here. Honestly, it's pretty aggressively thin. So this is going to be quite the slicer. Obviously not something you're going to go out and beat the crap out of and abuse and be rough on, right? But it'll handle your typical knife tasks, and I think it'll be a high quality, dependable tool for years, right? So yeah, pick the one up you like. Both of them are recommendable. It's going to go in my recommended knives playlist. I am also going to put this video in my cheap knives I like playlist, not because of this guy, but because of this guy, obviously. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, why is this video in here? It's because this one is inexpensive, but there's no reason to review this knife twice, right? Anyways, thanks again to CJRB for sending these in. Like I said, these will be given away on a live stream. They're linked down in the description. Check them out. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.